I'm Rob, and I wanted a week of rest from everything and everyone, so I decided to make it a week of camping with just myself. I packed my things and left right away the next morning. After a few hours of hiking, I found a tremendously beautiful place to camp, without knowing that in this place, I was going to witness the scariest experience of my life. I set up my tent and began to find some wood for the campfire. It was starting to get dark, so I decided to light the fire. After struggling for a while, I finally got it lit. The crackling fire provided a warm and comforting glow in the midst of the darkened forest. I sat by the campfire, roasting marshmallows as a gentle breeze rustled the leaves above. But despite the idyllic setting, an unnerving feeling gnawed at the back of my mind. I couldn't shake the sense that I was being watched. That unseen eye lingered just beyond the veil of darkness. As the night wore on, the shadows deepened and my unease grew. I stole occasional glances into the surrounding wilderness, searching for any sign of movement or presence. And then, there it was, a figure standing in the distance. Illuminated by the soft flickering glow of the fire, my heart skipped a beat, and a chill traveled down my spine as I beheld the sight before me. The man, if he could be called that, was peculiarly built, tall, impossibly thin, and pale as death itself. His hollow eyes fixated on me, devoid of emotion, as he was peering into the depths of my soul. Summoning the courage, I called out, my voice trembling with a mix of curiosity and trepidation. "Who are you? What do you want?" I implored, but before the words could fully escape my lips, the figure vanished, dissipating into the enveloping darkness. A mixture of fear and curiosity consumed me. Who was this enigmatic being, and why was he at my campsite? The following night, as I sat by the campfire once again, a shiver ran through me as I felt his presence drawing nearer. I turned my gaze toward the distant tree line, and there he stood, closer this time. His gaze fixed upon me with a haunting intensity. His actions perplexed me. He did nothing but watch, silently observing my every move. The night after, he reappeared, standing even closer, yet maintaining his silent vigil. The unnerving pattern repeated itself, each night drawing him nearer, until his presence became an oppressive weight upon my sanity. It was the fourth night when the true horror of the situation revealed itself. As I lay in my tent, seeking solace in the sanctuary of fabric and nylon, a darkness loomed over me. I felt a looming shadow, suffocating and menacing, hovering directly above my shelter. Fear gripped me, paralyzing my every muscle. A voice, laden with malice and inhumane resonance, pierced the stillness of the night. "Go away," it whispered, a venomous command that penetrated my very being. I heard him silently walking backwards, through the leaves on the ground, and I could figure out how far he was. Panic surged through me, urging me to flee, but fear held me captive, rooted to the spot. I was trapped in the clutches of an otherworldly entity, a malevolence that defied comprehension. Was this being human? It seemed beyond mortal limitations, an embodiment of darkness. I persuaded myself to stay in my tent until it was light outside, so I could keep a close eye on my surroundings. The following morning, I packed my belongings in a frenzy, my mind teetering on the edge of sanity. The man, or whatever he was, had driven me to the brink. I fled the campsite, leaving behind the terrors that haunted it, praying that the specter would not follow. To this day, I am haunted by the memory of those chilling nights, forever tormented by the unanswered questions. Who was that creature? What did it want from me? The encounter left an indelible mark on my soul, a reminder that there are entities beyond our comprehension, lurking in the shadows, waiting to prey upon the vulnerable and unexpecting. I continue to ponder the nature of that presence, forever wary of the darkness that encroaches upon my existence. The memory of the thin, pale figure with its hollow eyes lingers in my nightmares, a constant reminder of the boundary between the real and the supernatural, between life and unimaginable horror. And in those moments of vulnerability, I can almost hear the chilling voice whispering, "Go away." I went camping with some friends in a forest that was known for its beautiful nature. It was a several-hour drive, but when we arrived, we quickly realized it was worth it. After a long walk deep into the forest, it was already getting dark. We had divided up the tasks. 2 of us went to get wood for the campfire, and the other 3 went to set up the tents. The next step was getting the fire lit. There were enough of us to fan and throw wood on, so this was very easily taken care of. But I quickly had a weird feeling when we were there. I didn't feel comfortable, but I ignored it and sat quietly by the campfire. The crackling fire provided a flickering illumination, casting shadows that danced upon the forest floor. We were isolated from the rest of the world. We had ventured here, seeking solace in nature, blissfully unaware of the horrors that awaited us. As twilight settled over the landscape, an unsettling stillness crept through the air. A chill ran down my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Unease settled upon our group. The first sign of the intruder's presence came in the form of subtle disturbances, a rustle in the underbrush, a branch snapping under the weight of an unseen presence. We brushed them off as the wildlife of the forest, dismissing the rising tension that hung heavy in the air. Night after night, the incidents grew more frequent. Our campfire, once a symbol of warmth and camaraderie, now held a creepy allure. The flames cast elongated shadows that seemed to reach out towards us, as if beckoning us into the embrace of darkness. It was during one such night, as we gathered around the fire, that we saw him, a figure lurking in the peripheral of our vision. Tall-like, he stood amidst the trees, his features obscured by the shadows. His presence alone gave us the creeps, freezing us in place. With trembling voices, we called out, demanding to know who he was and what he wanted. But he remained silent, a specter etched into the fabric of the night. As we stared, the figure vanished, dissipating into the darkness. Fear clutched at our hearts, but curiosity pushed us forward. We decided to take turns keeping watch throughout the night, determined to catch a glimpse of our mysterious intruder. Yet as the nights wore on, our efforts proved futile, and the tension within our camp grew like a fog. On the 4th night, as I took my shift, a bone-chilling sensation washed over me. I scanned the surrounding woods, my senses heightened, searching for any signs of movement. And then, I saw him. A flash of movement at the edge of my sight. The figure was closer this time, his elongated limbs stretching towards the sky like twisted branches. His pale face was illuminated by the moonlight, revealing a cold, angry man. I called out, my voice trembling, demanding answers, but once again, he vanished, swallowed by the night. Panic consumed me as I realized he was toying with us, playing a game of cat and mouse. The following nights unfolded in a terrifying repetition. Each time, his presence is more palpable, his intentions more evil. We could no longer deny the threat that surrounded us, the reality that we were trapped in a nightmare of our own making. The next night came the climax of our torment. As I lay in my tent, seeking shelter from the next approach, I heard the sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate, and filled with an ominous purpose. I held my breath, my heart pounding in my chest, as the sound came closer. I heard him just wandering around our tents. Occasionally he would pick something up and put it back. It took about 5 minutes for him to wander around our camping spot, and then he disappeared again. These were the most tense 5 minutes of my life. I had never been more frightened than at that moment. In a desperate bid for survival, we broke camp, abandoning our belongings and fleeing into the night. We ran until our legs gave out, seeking refuge in the light of civilization. But even there, in the safety of the city, we could not escape the lingering dread that clung to our very beings. To this day, we remain haunted by the memory of those harrowing nights and the man that stalked us. We may never know what this person's intention was, whether he was evil or just wanted to scare us. But one thing is certain: the horrors lurking in the shadows are far more terrifying than we could have ever imagined. The campsite stands as a testament to the horrors we faced, an eternal reminder of the scary man that once held sway over its grounds. We emerged victorious, but the scars run deep, etched into our souls. Some claimed they saw the man among the trees. Others heard someone wandering around as they lay in their tents, while the figure babbled a bit to his own. But amid the lingering mysteries and the ramblings that echoed through the trees, the man's true nature remained hidden. It was a mystery beyond comprehension, its origin and purpose forever shrouded in the forest. As for us, the survivors of that fateful encounter, we carry the weight of our experiences, the knowledge that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. The campsite is a silent witness, so we tread carefully, embracing the ambiguity and expecting that the campsite will forever remain a mystery, an eternal reminder of the scariest experience of our lives. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a creepy glow over the tranquil ground. We had arrived with excitement, seeking solace in nature's embrace. Little did we know that our peaceful retreat would soon descend into a living nightmare. As we set up our tents, a disquieting chill settled in the air. The atmosphere seemed charged with a strange energy, and a sense of foreboding wrapped around us like a suffocating shroud. It was as if the very earth beneath our feet held hidden terrors. Nightfall came, and with it, the campground transformed into a realm of shadows and uncertainty. The campfire offered scant comfort against the dark forest, its dim light casting eerie silhouettes on the surrounding trees. But the peace we sought was disturbed when inexplicable phenomena began to appear. At first, we caught glimpses in the corners of our eyes of ghostly apparitions, figures floating amongst the trees. But as soon as you stared directly at them, they were gone. It seemed like it was between our ears, but after experiencing this several times, you begin to believe it. Strange sounds pierced the silence, a symphony of whispers, footsteps on fallen leaves, and shouts in the distance. The forest came alive, with all different sounds of the unknown. each sound echoing in our minds with a haunting familiarity. As the night progressed, we were overcome by an overwhelming sense of dread that disturbed any semblance of calm. Shadows danced and swirled around the campsite, stretching into grotesque shapes that seemed to reach out at us. We huddled closer together. We didn't know what to do. A piercing wind whipped through the trees with an unnatural fury. It carried with it a chorus of fearful cries that seemed to come from all directions. Panic gripped our hearts. Our instincts forced us to flee from the threat that was coming. With trembling limbs, we made the decision to escape from the haunted campsite. But as we began to gather our belongings and began to run, we couldn't find our way. We were so panicked that we could not think clearly. Desperation fueled our efforts and urged us to just walk on through the forest. Each step felt heavier, the air growing denser with an ominous presence. Our senses were overwhelmed, our minds balanced on the edge of madness as we ran through the forest. Hours passed, though it felt like an eternity, until we finally emerged from the dense forest. We came across a deserted road, lit only by the moonlight. We collapsed from exhaustion, overcome with relief at the sight of civilization. As we caught our breath, we exchanged frightening glances, a silent recognition of the horrors we had witnessed. We had survived, but the mysteries of the campsite continued to haunt us. The unexplained phenomena etched into our memories. After a long time, we tried to put what we had experienced behind us, but the secrets of the campsite continued to haunt our minds. We looked for answers, delved into the forest, and searched for people who had experienced similar encounters. But our efforts proved futile. The campsite remained a silent enigma, with secrets that refused to give themselves away. It remained a forbidden place, forever shrouded in mystery and darkness. In time, the memories of that cursed night faded, but a sense of unease lingered. The ghostly apparitions, inexplicable sounds, and overwhelming fear had left an indelible mark on our souls. We would never forget the horrors we had endured, nor the unanswered questions that occupied our minds. The campsite stood as a testament to the unknown forces that lurked beyond our understanding, a mystery that continued to lure and entice the curious to unlock its secrets. But maybe it's better that we don't look further for answers.